Hello everybody, this is Havoc, and welcome back to Prehistoric Kingdom. Not quite sure where the audio is. It's definitely here. There's definitely some in-game stuff going on, but it's a little quiet sometimes with the soundtrack, so don't like introducing myself without some dramatic music coming in. But welcome back to our park of Prehistoric Preserve. Last episode, we kind of modulated some things. We added a new divergence in our park. If you are new to the channel or new to the series and you're at this point, we are essentially starting to break up our park into different biomes rather than do different ages or break it up by that means. Biomes make the most sense, and I've thought a lot about it. And what we're actually going to start doing is we are going to start having the same dinosaurs in different biomes. For those of you who may not know, and we can go over into the nursery holders, fine. You can see that we do have our Torvosauruses. Let's go into here. With any given dinosaur, there are different genetic skins. And of course, with those genetic skins, more often than not, especially in the case of like the Torvosaurus, you have different biomes in which these fossils were found in, were discovered, at least in the game. Whether or not this was real life, I would assume they tried to be relatively realistic and with some historical accuracy. But you can see here the rugged, it prefers scrubland and coastal, whereas gemstone and volcanic can both thrive in the desert. Now we most see this issue in things like our Psittacosaurus. We do have a couple of seashell boyos right here who are coastal and wetland. And while for sure they share it with our Nasutoceratops, I feel like, because these guys aren't 100% satisfied, if we were to go, we're gonna do a little deep dive to begin our thing. If you'll notice enclosure 1, which I really wish we could name our enclosures, it's one of the things I'm looking forward to, you'll see that their welfare isn't exactly 100%. And that's because right at this moment, the Psittacosauruses and the Nasutoceratopses, Topsi, they don't quite jive, and I think it's in large part because they don't have the exact same biome mashup. And if we looked over in enclosure 1, I just feel that yeah, there is a little bit of tropical, some wetland, and some coastal. So my thoughts and opinions were to really hone in on this biome idea, and we can certainly mix tropical and forest because I feel like those are going to be relatively close to each other, if you know what I mean. And so we can totally split up our Nasutoceratops and our Psittacosaurus and only have purely wetland instead of mixing biomes, if that makes sense. So that's what we're going to do. So you're going to start seeing in our park the same species sprinkled throughout because the genetic skins are gorgeous in this game. They are just absolutely gorgeous. And I would love to be able to show them all off to you, but it again doesn't quite jive. So that's what we're going to start doing going forward. You're going to start seeing the same species in different biomes. I just wanted to give you a heads up, and then eventually, whenever I'm bringing in millions and millions of dollars, we'll add the male counterparts, which is supposed to add some genetic variety as well. But of course, our park isn't quite to that stance yet because I've been building other things that in game don't really generate that much funds, but do add to the life of what a theme park should be like. So with that in mind, let's take a look at our Torvosauruses. So we're going over to our large nursery, which I do plan on having this kind of fleshed out. I actually played this with my daughter the other day, my youngest Ellie, who some of you may know as the Nazgul. If you know, you know. And she added just tons of walls. She was able to do all this by herself. It was adorable. I wish I would have recorded it. Just because, like, not necessarily recorded her, but just recorded the chaos that ensued because she actually broke the game. I actually went massively into debt and the park like failed, quote unquote, but I could just load. But it was really adorable. But we are going to spice this area up. This is meant to be, as you can see here, almost like an educational space. So that's the kind of space we're going to do that. And maybe I'll do that in like a YouTube short or something. This isn't really something that I would focus on for an entire episode. So that's kind of a combination of things that I want to do there. But coming over here, as you saw, we had our Torvosauruses, and our Torvosaurus that we have is, let's go back to our Torvosauruses, is going to be our volcanic and our gemstone. Both of these are absolutely gorgeous creatures. And of course, they thrive in the desert. And since we just got our deserts in, That's what we're going to focus on today. But not only that, because I mentioned I actually think it was last episode, this is a natural water formation that came with the park. I didn't do anything to it. I haven't modified it. But I'd said it would be really, really cool to add a new thematic thing where, you know, there's like a little oasis here, like a little swimming area, that sort of deal. I don't know what else there would be, just kind of a nice little water attraction. That way people could, you know, have some bathrooms to change in, maybe a little bit of food and stuff, and then they can go swimming. And then they can, you know, in their bare feet or hopefully their sandals, because this would probably burn them, they can go over, check out some animals, check out some dinosaurs, come back over and swim if they wanted to. Oh, hello, Luna. There you are. We've been looking for Luna for about 3 episodes now. She ran off. She likes to run off and she likes to escape. And I haven't found her because the in-game finder doesn't actually do anything with Luna specifically. So Luna, I found you. Let's get you moved up. I'm so happy. I'm genuinely happy we found her. We need to get her back over to here. There we go. And I'll be back in just a second, guys. All right, well, that makes me very, very happy. Like I said, we've been looking for her for a very, very long time. We scroll back up. Oh my word. I'm very much looking forward to the whole habitat issue thing that we've been experiencing, because these little boogers are just able to climb out, and so it's been a little bit of an issue. And in fact, I'm actually gonna have to terminate. I wish I could sell or heal the animal or do whatever. We're gonna terminate, so that way it's just the 3 of them, and that might add a little bit of a boost to our park management since we don't have any loose dinosaurs. But anyways, back over to here. So we are going to build our Torvosaurus exhibit, and then we are going to build our races. And I will preface it with this. I have just simply not had the time to do my research on the Torvosaurus. We may come back and do a Torvosaurus on, you know, the little breakdown like I normally do with our dinosaurs. So I do apologize. The quality is suffering just very, very minimally. But it's simply because right now it's pure chaos in the house with work the way that it is, school starting up. And I will do a Torvosaurus breakdown, but it'll be in a new environment once we do the other ones. So guys, at this point, sit back, relax, while I develop our Torvosaurus exhibit. And timeline Havoc here. All right, so first and foremost, I wanted to create an experience visually for the people that are here. So naturally, the Arid Pack has a spectacular set of assets for this exhibit viewership idea, and I love the looks of this. But I did notice that it only has 1 glass pane, and I was like, that doesn't jive with me. You're not gonna get hundreds of people to come to this exhibit and look at the thing if there's only 1 underground viewing path. So the first and foremost was to make all of those panes viewable. That allows a lot more people to come in. It creates a better experience under there, so that way kids are not wrestling for viewership, so adults are not wrestling for that viewership. And then of course it has the stuff on top, which is great. One of my concerns, and I'll address it once we get back to our normal regular Havoc, was that these 2.5 meter tall fences were not going to be high enough. And in fact, I thought that the arid platform there was not going to be high enough. Turns out it is, so no concerns there. No children are going to get eaten off the top of the platform. But there is something that I realize later on in the episode that you'll get to see, and you'll get to, in real life it wouldn't happen. But again, we're kind of playing a mix of reality and a game, so it is what it will be. And then again, I can't justify loads and loads of fencing. I love the rocks. I think it's a great way to separate dinosaurs so they don't get too excited seeing other dinosaurs, and especially with the Torvosaurus being such a large creature, it just made sense to kind of have this idea of rock enclosures even in a desert landscape. There's gonna be lots of plateaus, there's gonna be things of that nature. Desert isn't just flat, it isn't just boring. And that's evidence here too. I wanted to create dunes. I wanted to create that kind of rougher landscape. And then when it came to foliage, I've mixed a lot of different types of sub-biomes, I guess you could call it, in this, because in the past I've done that and I didn't really want to do that this time. So we stuck really with Joshua trees, I love Joshua trees. They're some of my favorite desert foliage. They just look very, very unique. And combine that with some scrubs, along with some cactus. These are the sort of combinations that are pretty common, at least in deserts that I've seen, desert ideas that I wanted to go for. And so I think that worked out pretty darn well, honestly. We'll add some touches here in a little bit, add some grass around the shrubbery because that's a little more sensical. But what we also wanted to do, what I also wanted to do, me, myself, and I, is to create offset the fence line enough to where we can have our observation decks, where we can have our signage, our donation boxes, and still have some foliage. I love how I did the opposite exhibit, and I had those trees along the fence line. I had the shrubbery idea. For one, it just creates a little bit of an immersive experience. It adds some shade depending on the time of day. But also the main reason for myself is to kind of, again, do that little bit of role playing where if there's shrubbery, if there's stuff like that, kids aren't going to walk through that and go right up to the exhibit fence because, let's be frank, my kids would be the ones that would do it and they would get eaten by a Torvosaurus. And that's not something that really appeals to me. So that's a big reason why I wanted to push that fence back. Adding the water, adding kind of the final touches here. And this is not going to be the end. I know I said this was the Torvosaurus exhibit, but we're going to actually develop the desert area quite a bit. And that's going to be working on that oasis setup, because I did say I wanted to make that oasis a central theme of the desert biome, because I want it to bring people in. I want them to be able to do more than just look at dinosaurs all day. It would be cool to have, you know, a hotel section of the park. I'm sure people have made hotels, and if they have, be sure to link them to me, because I would love to add hotels in as a cool little feature. But developing this oasis piece is crucial because it creates that immersive experience for myself more than anything. So coming back into this platform, as you're seeing right now, I had to fill it out. I forgot about it, so I was like, oh crap, I should do that, and I should make that all work. But what we're about to see is probably one of the coolest little thematic instances of integrating some of these arid packs and the assets that come within the game. So for this one, we're adding a nice little viewing, a little rest stop area where you can get some shade, you can check out a Torvosaurus, and this works really, really well. I think the desert pack is probably the assets from the desert theme, I should say, are some of the best assets that create that thematic feel. I love the canvas shades. I love all of those sorts of deals because it just really brings you in, and it's just enjoyable for me. I'm a dad to my core, so all these thematic things are great. And then in this next setup, which is going to kind of wrap up the last little bit, combining with connecting it to the park and developing the first stages of our Oasis Center, is connecting it to the park, as I just said, because we do want to have more than one entrance to every single biome area. You don't want to limit that. I don't want someone to be like, I have to walk all the way around just to go to this. I'm tired, it's the end of the day. No, we don't want any of that. So we want to have multiple connections, and I'm going to flesh out this thing as well. We probably won't call that the same thing we did on the other side. I'm still kind of up in the air about it. But the three assets I'm about to place here, the bathroom and two shops, are some of the most exciting pieces of this episode to me. And they may not be exciting to you, and that's fine. But as I'll mention in a little bit, is this idea of the Middle Eastern style of the markets of canvas overlapping each other, of canopies overlapping and connecting to each other. I want to make this a little more cohesive, flesh it out just a little bit more to where it's almost like you're walking into a market. So we're going to do some assets on the other side that I don't explain just yet. But we're going to create this kind of market stall. I would say probably closer to like Moroccan markets. That's kind of just hit me off the top of my head, because I want to have this really cool feel that you're really immersed into each different section of the park. The biggest section here, there is going to be a point where beauty takes a factor. I believe it's in the next update. And I wanted to make sure that my solar panels weren't seen. And so we got to start hiding our solar panels, because eventually they are going to have a negative effect, much like they are in Planet Zoo. So I thought about building this rock face. So having the market, having a rock face on each side. and then using that space in between to hide our solar panels. Now, ideally, I'll in offline flesh it out by adding some employee access only things, maybe like a little access ladder, things of that nature. But overall, it worked out very well. It's a really awesome start, and I am super proud of what I've done here, because sometimes my creativity, my brain says, hey, you're not creative enough. And this just, when I get to good things like this, it really validates that. So I've done enough jabbering. Regular Havoc's about to pop in right now. Okay, this was a lot more than I was expecting to do, and to be quite frank, we have a lot of stuff we need to take care of. So I hope you enjoyed that, for one, because it was rather interesting. I enjoyed it a lot. We'll get to it in just a second. Just gotta do some housekeeping. I'm tired of all the notifications over there, and it seems like an overabundance of dung is happening across the board. But anyways, that was quite the experience, and we're not done yet, so just keep that in mind. All right, I think we're good. I think that's a glitch, because I do think there is a dinosaur on the loose here, and they just don't have the notification difference at the moment. And if we were to go here, I guarantee you it's Luna. Okay, wow, no, Luna is still in there. Oh, no, she's not. She is not in here. She is out, or she has died. Luna. Luna. You are a mess, child. Just a big old mess. I'll have to find her later, because I'm not going to spend time looking for her. But anyways, I have really enjoyed creating this. So essentially what I wanted to do, it is quite bright right here, but it's kind of intended to be. You're in the shade, you're doing other stuff over here, but I love this idea. Now, I will say, I'm not familiar with how to make this fill out. So if you know how to get a shop to where it'll actually like run and people will come to it, I would be very, very thankful for that information, because again, I love this idea. Whenever I synced these up, it just kind of gave me that, like those pictures you see from Istanbul, Constantinople, however you want to call it, where they kind of have all the markets that are just kind of blended together. So I love that idea of making these almost all interconnected. To be quite frank, I think I'd like to do a canopy that comes over here and we take out those trees. But it is what it is. But I love the arid landscape. Modifying this section was probably one of my favorites, as I already have told you in the time lapse. But I think we're finally ready to release our dinosaurs, which are chilling in an enclosure. Let's open her up. Oh yes, select all. Let's release our two animals. And good, okay, so one of the things I was very concerned about, and we're gonna let Nigel come in today, if he decides he wants to. I figured he would say something. I have a really hard time determining the size of critters, if that makes sense. Dinosaurs, how they will function, how they will operate, and so I was afraid that this was going to be too short. And to be honest, unless these creatures just really, I mean, look at them, they are gorgeous. Unless they do just decide to charge, there's no one that's going to be able to, I don't know, that's not glass. So in reality, I feel like this Torvosaurus, these Torvosauri, could easily just kind of poke their heads through and gobble up a child who was too close. But we will let the parameters of the park speak for themselves and be okay. So we see here that our exhibit is not all that great. They aren't super thrilled about what's going on here. So we're gonna check their needs. That seems to be okay. I wonder if it's crowding that's an issue. Cleanliness seems to be all right on top of that. Doesn't seem to be an issue. Now I wonder, let's go back to the dinosaurs themselves. Let's go to here. Oh goodness, I can never figure out exactly an easy way to get to it. So let's go over here, let's go open the genetics lab. They're okay with exhibit crowding of 15%. They have a minimum size of 1900 meters squared, which is what we have is as actually 6,000. Or just right below that. So I don't know exactly what it is. There's only desert biomes. We don't have the exhibit crowding issue. I'm kind of wondering if we need to pluck one of these these dinosaurs out. And also, is the other one in the rocks? We have Corazon, which is an adorable name for a dinosaur, but we need to find the other one. I think a dinosaur has escaped. Oh no. I don't see it anywhere, and maybe that's the problem. Am I just completely and totally blind? Or is there only one Torvosaurus in here, and that's Corazon? Oh, here we go, okay. Okay, that was actually some really good. We're just gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Okay, that's it. It's the crowding thing. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm okay with it. It's all good. We have a tiny bit of scrubland, a tiny little bit of coastal potential here. But okay, so Corazon, I see now why we could, yeah. That's understandable, and that's actually really smart on a Torvosaurus's part. We're just gonna knock this out to here, just so I kind of have that, and we may do something right there. So I hate having 6,000 square meters solely dedicated to a single dinosaur. And I feel like the dinosaur will get lonely. So I'm wondering, we're gonna try this, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we're going to put a Coelophysis in with. We're gonna try it. So we're gonna get a couple of Coelophysis, and we'll see if that crowds the exhibit or not. Now I will say we're running a little bit low on cash, just a little bit. So we need to kind of be aware. However, I think we bumped up to a 3-star just now, which is something we haven't achieved yet. And if that's the case, we should start bringing in a good deal more people. And to be quite frank, if we could get our Coelophysis over here, that's kind of again blending those different dinosaurs and making things really, really nice. We're gonna wait for Pishna to come in. I also can't wait to get in and have some male dinosaurs in here. All right, we're gonna select all of them. Why do we have so many invalid placements? Okay, so now we're gonna do this. They need a little bit more water. Can Corazon handle that? Corazon can handle a good deal more water, actually, which is great. That's awesome. We're gonna put in just a little bit more, enough to satiate those little boogers. We're gonna have ourselves an oasis here. Do we still need, okay, we need more. Wow, that's a lot of water. Okay, how about that? Cool, we're awesome. So again, I don't know. Corazon's drinking water. Corazon, the water's over here. But I love this idea of having our Coelophysis in with our Torvosaurus. Ideally, they shouldn't get eaten, but there's no guarantee. But that also gives our Coelophysis a little more space to breathe, a little more room. We need to do meat here. Sorry about that, meat. And that's gonna allow them to eat, and they will be good. So, oh, that didn't bring us to a 3-star. I thought it did, and I swear I messed with this. This may be one of those deals. Preserve, hello. There we go. Awesome. All right, so it looks like we are at under 2.5 stars, which is a bit unfortunate, but you will see it has completely spiked our number of guests in the park, which is awesome. So that means our Torvosaurus, Corazon, is doing exactly what she needs to do in order to make our park a little bit more successful. Look at this gorgeous dinosaur. Very cool. So they are kind of just found everywhere, which is awesome. So yeah, again, it's a bit unfortunate that our stars haven't gone up quite as much, because this is a very, very sought after dinosaur in a park exhibit. What's the score? The score is 1400. Total welfare is 100, which is awesome. And we also have, you know, cross species stuff as well, which I know contributes to that total score. Again, I don't get why we can't name enclosures. I don't know if that's just a bug that breaks the system or not. But again, I also really enjoy this idea. So the purpose of this stall area, and maybe we'll expand it in the future. I saw here that we can do like a modern restaurant. I love this, but this needs to go up here. Okay, so this is something that I've actually had in my notes from well over a year ago when I started my first prehistoric park. I have in my notes that this is actually for a lagoon, so it's a little bit different, but I have in my notes that I would love to place a restaurant that overlooks an exhibit. So we're gonna do this one for sure in a different episode, but it's gonna be a desert theme. It's gonna be kind of tying along to this. So we're gonna have that transition, as you saw the transition of getting the park over to here. Now we could definitely do the oasis, but I'm not gonna lie, everybody, running a little bit short on time. It is a little bit of whiles, very shortly my children will be up, and they will be up 100%. So again, what I would like from you guys, that I would love your input, because I don't quite know the exact process of filling all of this out. How do I fill this out to where they actually will come in and they will actually use it, and it will actually, you know, generate funds and stuff like? Is it right here? Is it, I mean, is it that simple? Is it really so simple as to just slap a thing right here and call it good for now? I'm gonna do this, and if it's not, then you guys can let me know in the comment section, because I need to, I can't go into it. That's interesting. So we have that, we have our kiosk nutrition as well. So this is what I'm gonna do for now. And if it works, then fantastic. And I figured it out, and you guys are still awesome. If it isn't how it works, then you guys will let me know in the comment section, and we'll get rocking and rolling. Perfect. So for now, hopefully that works, but otherwise we got to do just a couple more things here, and then we will wrap up the end of the episode. Guys, I still am just obsessively loving this park. It's been one of the most fun experiences. I do wish I had more time to dedicate to it. That is what it is. Unfortunately, there's really not much that I can change at the moment about it, but I do love all of it. I do wish the stars would go up, but we are seeing, we have to have some dinosaurs that are out. That must be what it is, because Luna, you're just a pickle and a half, kid. Like, I might have to get rid of you. And we may have to figure out how to transport these guys over to the other biomes and just figure them out for a little bit, or I can simply cut them off here and hope expand their exhibit, and we can start getting them hopefully to stay in their enclosure, because I think that is a big part of it for sure. But guys, I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's been fun. I'm really enjoying the progression here. Our Torvosaurus is awesome. Hopefully our park guests will start sprinkling in over here as we get more and more and more, and we will work on our oasis. I might build the little oasis as a YouTube short. Again, trying to blend and progress the park without dedicating one single episode to one single aspect. But guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I do appreciate all of you for the support. We'll see what we can do for the next episode. That's all I got. I'm jibber jabbering now. Let's just end it. I appreciate you. We'll see you in the next one.
These are nature's greatest creations. This is your park. This is Prehistoric Kingdom.